So like I said, I was going to start with the clamp. So since we know it's first angle projection, I'm just going to start off by grabbing my construction line. We know how we're going to do this. We're going to have the vertical, the horizontal. Awesome. We're going to line up the center here. Awesome. OFF. We're going to offset it by 10. So we're going to go 10 up, 10 down, 10 on the left, 10 on the right. So that's my standard format for my vertical and horizontal plane. Awesome. Now that I have this, I kind of have an idea of where my front elevation is going to go and where my end elevation is going to go, which is 1 and 2 spaces respectively. And I can actually start a draw. So let me just take a look at this. I think first I'll start with my end elevation, since we have some of the dimensions for that. Yeah, I think I'll start with that first. So off the bat, I can see that I have a particular height that I'm working with, and the height is 15 to the center. And then we have, let's just get that out there one time. 1 5 enter. So there's gonna be 15, then L enter, and then it's gonna be about 35 from that. 3 5 enter. Awesome. Nice. And since this is the center, these are actually the center points for what is needed. I have to actually extend it across, but we know it's gonna occur at 15 and 35 from the 15 respectively. So since I have that, I'm gonna just grab these guys, put them in center line, enter, enter. Nice, awesome. So I know these are the center of the circles respectively. Now what I'm actually gonna do is I'm actually gonna come across here. I'm gonna set up the center of my object. So let's just say I'm gonna start the object. It's gonna be a radius. If you're looking at the radius, it's gonna be of the bigger. So let me just go up and show you that. So because I would have set up the horizontal for the 15 and then the 35 here respectively, the next thing that I want to do is I want to kind of get the total height of the object. And from what I'm looking at, the total height of the object depends on this particular semicircle construct, where we have the inner one is actually R20 and the outer one seems to be R30. Right, so we're gonna just jump across to the front elevation, and we're gonna pull a center line for this particular circle, where this particular circle is drawn. We're gonna start that, and then we're gonna work our way across from there, since we already established the center line and these particular heights. Right, so back to the drawing. Like I said, I'm gonna come L enter. I'm just gonna pull a line down. We'll adjust it to suit. It's reasonably far from the end view. So now I'm just gonna take here and I'm gonna go C enter. I'm gonna do, I don't have to do C, I could also do a center start end. Alright, I'm gonna declare here as the center, and then I'm gonna put the start as, let's do the inner circle first. So I'm gonna do 20. I'm just gonna make that cut, and then I'm gonna C enter. Then I'm gonna do one at 30. Nice. So this is 20 and 30, and we have 1 2. Now one of the things that we can also see is that at the center point here, there is a line coming directly down. Right, so let's go back and see. Right, so here we have that center point coming from here. I'm just going off of the line that we have, and it's going to come to the end of the object. So there's the center point for the end of the object. Here we have a radius 3, then we have another radius 3 here for the swing back, and then we're going to go up, then we have a radius 3 in. So I'm going to go back at the bottom. I'm going to start off by saying, hey, we're going to start the line here. I'll enter, gonna go across 20, then we're gonna go up until we cut that outer end of the circle, and that is one of the things that we wanted. Nice. And now once we have that, we have the essentially the heights for our object. Let me just grab this point here as well, pull this across. Awesome. And then I could TR, enter, enter, and I'm just gonna trim this right here, 1, 2. So now you can see that this object is beginning to look like it. TR, enter, enter. In fact, I'll leave this line here for now. Alright, so now we have this, and then we also know that there's a width of 60. So I'm just doing some of the basic stuff. A width of 60, we're gonna go across, we're gonna say 60, enter, and then we're gonna go down to here. Nice. And if I take the dimension for here, oops, if I take the dimension for here, it's gonna say 60. Great. And if I take the dimension for here, it's gonna say 15, and the corresponding, no, that's not where I want you. Alright, we're gonna put it there, and then last but not least, at least for this side, we're just gonna have that dimension meters right here. So we have the 35. Awesome. So now we can begin to see the object coming out, and we also could see, at least on this side, that we have in the center of the object, because we have the center line here for the circle, the center of the object, we have a 10 diameter hole. Alright, so we're just gonna come back down here, we're gonna look for the center. I'm just gonna use my snap to pull that center straight down, that center line straight down. Just gonna leave it here, turn that into an actual center line. Awesome. Enter, escape. Then I'm gonna go C, enter. So since the diameter is 10, I'm actually just gonna go a radius of 5, enter, and there we have our inner circle. I'm gonna use the construction lines to project the lines across on this other side of the drawing. So we just pulling that across, so I know now that the hole itself is actually going to be hidden lines coming across here. Awesome. The next thing for us to actually draw will be the bumps and the curves that we highlighted earlier on. So we have the 20, then there's like center line here, then we have a 3 radius. So what I'm thinking is we're gonna do this circle here, so we're gonna come up 3, where that 3 intersects the main width of the 20, which should be the center line. We're gonna do 3 curve, and then on top of that now we're gonna do a 3 curve back up to here. So that will be a total of 3 out from there, and then 3 back in from there. And then we're gonna stop right here. Then we're gonna go all the way up, and then we're gonna have another curve starting here. And because this this fillet ish type curve comes on the edge of this, I can choose to do an arc at radius 23, meaning add the 2 radius just to get the center point of it, and then I could do another circle there and trim it accordingly. So let's see if we could breeze through that. So next, like I said, I'm going to use this as my reference line. I'm going to go L enter, I'm going to go 3 up. And now that I have this one reference point, I'm just going to put a line there, and now I'm going to go I'm gonna grab my center start and I'm gonna declare my center. I'm gonna start at 3, enter. Then I'm just gonna curve it down until it meets the base. Now that I'm done there, this point here is actually going to be 3 as well. So once we have that 3, I'm going to enter again. I'm going to go from this point up 3, enter. Then I have my another center point. Let me just grab that again. Yeah, and then I'm going to do arc, center. We're going to start at 3. Then we're going to do a curve up this way. And because we did the curve up this way, we know that it's not going to entirely come here. So we're going to just pull that line from the center, meet it at the 90 degrees so that we could have that straight up vertical, and then we're going to send it up. Once we send it up, we're going to have a small shift in. I'm seeing it from here. So once we do that, let's just go across any drawing and let's just look at it. So then there's a small shift in. We're gonna go up, so we can see there's an offset because, and I'm just using the grid. We can see that hey, there's a small space here, but when we go up here on that same block, it's a little bit off. So yes, we have to go in. Awesome. So we know on the right track, and we would have done at least 2 of the shifts. So at this point, if you're using AutoCAD and you wanna, let's just say, conserve time, you can most likely just do your fillet, set your radius to 3, and then you could just click, and then you have that sweet fillet. If not, and I'm gonna just delete it right now. Let's just say you're also using paper. What you can do is you can do center start end. You can come from this angle. You can do the 2 radius plus each other. So you're gonna do like an offset of the radius. So this is actually gonna be 23 tab, and then I'm gonna hit shift because I just want to change the direction of that. I'm gonna do this so it cuts somewhere here. Now once I do that, remember that what I want is a circle. I want to find the center point. Is this 3? This radius is 23, right? I want to find the center point for that fillet. So again, I'll enter. I'm gonna probably start from about here. That's a safe distance. I'm gonna come across 3 just to get the offset from that. Let me just change the color for this so that you can see what I'm doing. Nice. I'm just gonna get the offset from this line here. You could do an offset. You could, measure 3 and just make sure you have that parallel line as well as this parallel line to this surface with a 3 offset from the arc. And once you do this, you can go C, enter, and once you do that C, enter, you could have a circle of 3 and it should touch both top and bottom. So if I do TR, enter, it will now register here as touching, and I could also trim here as well. So that's how I'll get that curve, and I could also trim here as well. Nice. So abracadabra, this is how we did it. And this curve TR, I just want to break this right here, will actually come from here. Nice. So now what we could do is we could just grab some of those really important lines, like this one. We could grab this one here, then this curve and this curve, and we could just drop those in outline one time. Now once we have that, then what we're gonna do is we're simply just going to switch across to outline, L enter in the outline, and then we're just gonna go across the object, just solidifying what needs to be solidified. L enter again in outline, L enter, because we want that line, and then we're gonna come down here. Nice. So once we have this, next thing we're gonna do is, yes, you guessed it, we have to finish it off with that hidden line, at least for the front elevation right now. Oops, watch where your objects are snapping, guys. Nice. And then I do it for here as well. Awesome. So now that I have this object, I'm just gonna pull some quick dimensions and then we're gonna go across the other one. And so you want this one here, so let me just mark this one as R20. Enter. I want this one here, so I'll just put this one here like this. Next, what I would like is, let's see, I would also like to see the smaller radii. I believe it's radii. Nice. Let me just mark these off. Nice. And one more. Awesome. So now we have these, we could see exactly what we were doing. And one more, let's just grab the linear because I don't think we have any way that would have expressed this particular width from the center line to be 20. Nice. Awesome. So now that we have that, we're gonna go across to solidifying this part of the drawing. Outline, L enter. We're gonna go 1, 2. We're then gonna come up. We're gonna go 3, 4, because you know this is basically like a solid cylinder without any curves from this end view. This would also be a solid circle because this is a hole, so that's going to outline for that. Then I'm going to go L enter, and for the L enter, I'm looking at the outside of this because remember we're looking at it from this direction. So I'm just gonna grab this particular line here. I'm gonna run it all the way across. Once I do that, I'm like, okay, cool. I could get behind that. And then there's one more part, and this part is it's okay. What I want to do is construction. I want to grab the construction line, and I know that the curve itself starts around, let me just grab, so the tangent should start around, we could do it at this point or we could do it at this point right here because that's where the fillet ends. I'm just gonna pull that across to here, just because that is the point where our semicircle, and so we just want to mark that off and put that in hidden line. So we're gonna do hidden details. Then we're just gonna do one here, pull it across to here. Awesome. Now we have one more line to draw, and guess what? It's the top here. So from if we're looking at this direction, we just see the curve of this, and we drew this solid, and the internal part here with the curve would have, and we did it in hidden lines. But guess what? There's another part of the internal curve that we need to represent, and it's this line here. So we're gonna grab the hidden line details, we're gonna click that, we're gonna grab that, we're gonna drop that right there. Awesome. So now once we have this, we could just finish off with some of the dimensions, and I think since we dimensioned it in one go, I'm gonna put my radius as 5 since we dimensioned it in one go. All right, we didn't have to like go back and forth.